I'm John Batchelor. Mary Kissel's here, and we're first going to attend to a line in the president's speech tonight, the joint session of Congress. The talking point from the White House, and Mary was kind to send these on to me, helping more Americans refinance mortgages at today's historically low interest rates. The president has instructed his economic team to work with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, their regulator, the FHFA, major lenders, and industry leaders to remove the barriers that exist in the current refinancing program, HARP, to help more borrowers benefit from today's historically low interest rates. Mary, that's your music. You're on stage. You knew this was coming. You've been writing at the editorial page about this for some weeks. It was so well rehearsed and previewed by the White House that it's difficult for us to focus. But please respond, Mary. What's he up to here?
Well, HARP was one of the many programs that the administration put out to help revise the housing market. The administration said it was going to help millions of people. It helped many less than that. Why is that? Well, for a couple of reasons. First of all, if banks aren't refinancing mortgages, it's for a good reason. And these calls to get Fannie and Freddie to just unilaterally reduce the interest rates are sold by the administration as a free lunch. But John, as you know, nothing is free here. And what they're really saying is, we want to take money away from investors who have invested in mortgage-backed securities, and we're going to reduce the capital that they get by reducing the payments that people are making on their mortgages. So it's not free. In fact, Grandma and Grandpa in Florida or Arizona will pay for this.
The pension funds that are involved in those mortgage
because
packages.
They will pay for this. So the fundamental policy idea here is very simple. It says, we, the White House, think that $1 in the hands of a homeowner is going to be better spent than $1 in the hands of an investor. Never mind that in many cases those could be the same people. It's just it's an absolute crock, and I can't believe that the administration is even going to put this forward.
Again, this is a political moment. They are posturing that they reach out to the people who are underwater or whose mortgages are in trouble, not expecting anything to happen, but to be a campaign line for 2012. Is that a fair summary?
Absolutely, and it's also a sop to the housing lobby in Washington, which is a bipartisan lobby. They lobby Republicans and Democrats to keep the housing game going.
Stimulus package, 2009, Obama administration, green jobs, California, headline, September 9th, 2011. Federal agents executed search warrant at the Northern California headquarters of solar panel manufacturer Solyndra Incorporated, which filed for bankruptcy protection this week despite receiving $535 million in federal stimulus loan guarantees. Mary, I'm told by a certain well-informed person, yourself, that this story is going to get very large. Why?
I think this is an incredible story. Solyndra is a solar panel maker that was the company that the administration held up as an example of politically directed investment and how that was good for America and how that was going to create jobs. Never mind that Solyndra never actually turned a profit. And that the company borrowed directly from the Treasury Department, that would be you, U.S. taxpayers, at a very low rate also. They were given a loan guarantee to the tune of $500 million. Basically stimulus money.
Right.
And they blew up. And there were red flags raised all along the way. A House subcommittee started investigating them earlier this year and tried to get more information about why the loan was made out of the White House. OMB, the Office of Management and Budget, refused to cooperate, so Congress had to subpoena the White House to get the information. And by the way, we've seen the Department of Energy this week make the same kinds of loan guarantees to so-called green companies. Now, with this FBI raid today, the FBI raid on Solyndra was done in conjunction with, guess what, the Department of Energy. So you have the same department, right, raiding the firm that it held up as the great example and still pushing money out the other side. It's a remarkable story.
We have file film of the president going to Solyndra and announcing this green job initiative in 2009. It seems significant, Mary, that a major Obama president bundler from 2008, George Kaiser, is said to be a major investor in Solyndra. Is that a problem for the Obama administration?
Well, it doesn't look good, but, John, we don't know all the facts yet. And that's why I think that this story is going to get bigger, because the Daily Caller reported today that Mr. Kaiser had made several trips to the White House, and also that Solyndra officials and investors had made no fewer than 20 trips to the White House between 2009 and April of this year as the company was blowing up. Oh, and by the way, in February, the Department of Energy restructured this loan guarantee, and guess what? The Solyndra private investors will get paid back on a certain part of the loan to the company before U.S. taxpayers will.
Green jobs, also known as con jobs. We move to another headline anticipated by Ms. Kissel over these many months. Headline, Bloomberg, Australian employers unexpectedly cut workers. Unemployment rises to 5.3%. Australian employers unexpectedly cut workers second month in August, sending the nation's currency and bond yields lower. As investors added to bets, the central bank will reduce interest rates. The economy in Australia is in trouble. Well done to the Gillard administration that is spending all of its time promoting a carbon tax that nobody wants. At the same time, they've got problems with the fundamental reason Australia was doing well, which is their natural resources. All these jobs are about the cutbacks in Australia because of the worldwide slowdown.
Yeah, well, it's funny. Australia is literally several years behind the United States. The reason that the government down there can afford to spend time on the carbon tax is because their unemployment rate is not 9.1%. It's just a little bit over 5%, and they have minimal government debt. So the government is wasting all of this time on programs that the public really doesn't want.
Carbon tax.
Yeah, and thinks that industry can take it. But the problem is that the rest of the world is not there to support them. China is starting to slow. India is definitely slowing. And the demand for the natural resources is starting to fall off. Now, you add on top of that government promises to raise taxes and regulatory uncertainty. They've also had a major re-regulation of their labor market. Hey, does that sound familiar? We've had exactly the same thing happen here. And you add that all up, and it makes business uncomfortable, and they pull back, and you get the result that you got today.
Mary Kissel grew up in Florida. She knows Florida very well. She watches it carefully, even though she's been in Hong Kong and now in New York. The president's speech tonight, Mary, was that directed at Florida? Is that going to convince the people of Florida? Do you think that Florida being in play means that the Jobs Act is enough for Obama to campaign there effectively for 2012?
Wow, big question. From Australia to Florida. I think that by the president coming out and reiterating again that he's not going to make any fundamental changes to entitlement programs, that is aimed at the Florida voter, especially the elderly voter, that is worried that the Republicans, in wanting to reform Medicare and Medicaid, will somehow reduce their benefits. And it plays into the Democrats' hands because, frankly speaking, the Republicans have not been good at explaining their program.
So this speech is a winner for Florida.
I don't know if it's a winner. It
I'm pushing
Come
you,
on,
Mary.
John.
I'm pushing.
I mean, it depends on who the Republicans put up, and we don't know who that nominee is going to be yet.
We have a good idea who's going to be.
Oh.
All right, fine. Yeah, there are many months left. Mary Kissel of the Wall Street Journal editorial page. I thank you very much. I always push her on Florida. Forgive me, Florida. You know better than I do. But, really, where Florida goes, that's the presidency in 2012. I'm John Batchelor. This is The John Batchelor Show.